Conversion is a highly productive way in the English word stock. Conversion consists in making a new word from some existing word by changing the category of a part of speech, the morphemic shape of the original word remaining unchanged. For example, a nurse to nurse, a hand to hand, a face to face. The new word made from conversion has a different meaning from that of the word from which it was produced, though the two meanings can be associated. The converted word acquires also a new paradigm and a new syntactic function, which are peculiar to its new category as a part of speech, for example, paper to paper, work to work. The main varieties of conversion can be presented as verbalization, the formation of verbs, substantivization, the formation of nouns, adjectivation, and adverbialization. The two categories of parts of speech especially affected by conversion are nouns and verbs. In the group of verbs made from nouns, there are some regular semantic associations. Verbs can be formed from nouns of different semantic groups and have different meanings. They are indicated in the following list. Verbs have an instrumental meaning if they are formed from nouns denoting parts of a human body. For example, to eye, to finger, to elbow, to shoulder, etc. Verbs have an instrumental meaning if they are formed from nouns denoting tools, machines, instruments, and weapons. For example, to hammer, to rifle, to nail. Verbs can denote an action characteristic of the animal denoted by the noun from which they have been converted, for example, to dog, to ape, to monkey. Verbs can denote acquisition, addition, or deprivation if they are formed from nouns denoting an object, for example, to fish, to dust, to peel, or to paper. Verbs can also converted from adjectives. In such cases, they denote the change of the state, for example, to pale, to cool, to clean, to slim, etc. Nouns can also be formed by means of conversion from verbs. Converted nouns can denote instant of an action, process or state, agent of the action expressed by the verb from which the noun has been converted, object or result of the action expressed by the verb from which the noun has been converted, place of the action expressed by the verb from which the noun has been converted. In the process of communication, words and word groups can be shortened. The causes of shortening can be linguistic and extralinguistic. By extralinguistic causes, changes in the life of people are meant. In modern English, many new abbreviations, acronyms, initials, blends are formed because the tempo of life is increasing and it becomes necessary to give more and more information in the shortest possible time. There are also linguistic causes of shortening words and word groups, such as the demand of rhythm, which is satisfied in English by monosyllabic words. When borrowings from other languages are assimilated in English, they are shortened. Generally, the three subgroups of abbreviation are regarded: graphical, initial, and lexical. Graphical abbreviations are the result of shortening of words and word groups only in written speech, while orally the corresponding full forms are used. They are used for the economy of space and effort in writing. Some graphical abbreviations of Latin origin have different English equivalents in different contexts. For example, PM can be pronounced in the afternoon. There are also graphical abbreviations of native origin where in the spelling we have abbreviations of words and word groups of the corresponding English equivalents in the full form. The graphical abbreviations are words which are shortened into 2, 3, or 4 letters. We have several semantic groups of them. Initial abbreviations are the bordering case between graphical and lexical abbreviations. When they appear in the language as a rule to denote some new offices, they are closer to graphical abbreviations because orally full forms are used, for example, JV, joint venture. When they are used to some duration of time, they acquire the shortened form of pronouncing and become closer to lexical abbreviations. For example, BBC is as a rule pronounced in the shortened form. Initialisms are the way of making the new words from the initial letters of the word group. Initialisms which coincide with English words in their sound form, such initialisms are called acronyms. For example, CLASS, Computer-Based Laboratory for Automated School System, or CD-ROM, Compact Disc Read-Only Memory. Lexical abbreviations are classified according to the part of the word which is clipped. Mostly the end of the word is clipped because the beginning of the word in most cases is the root and expresses the lexical meaning of the word. This type of abbreviation is called epicope. Here we can mention a group of words such as disco, expo, exam, com, and many others. In other cases, the beginning of the word is clipped. In such cases, we have apheresis, for example, chute, phone, copter, net, etc. Sometimes the middle of the word is clipped, for example, mat from market, math from mathematics. Such abbreviations are called syncope. Sound interchange is the way of word building when some sounds are changed to form new words which are differentiated due to alternation in the phonemic composition of the root. This process is not active in modern English, but it was productive in Old English. In many cases, we have vowel and consonant interchange. By means of vowel interchange, we distinguish different parts of speech. In some cases, vowel interchange is combined with affixation. Stress interchange can be mostly met in verbs and nouns. Many English verbs in Latin, French origin are distinguished from the corresponding nouns by the position of stress. Nouns have the stress on the first syllable and verbs on the last syllable. For example, accent to accent, conflict to conflict, export to export. As a result of stress interchange, we have also vowel interchange in such words because vowels are pronounced differently in stressed and unstressed positions. In reduplication, new words are made by doubling a stem, either without any changes as in bye-bye or with a variation of the root vowel or consonant as in ping-pong, tip-top, chit-chat. Most words made by reduplication represent informal groups, slang and colloquialisms. For example, walkie-talkie, riff-raff, etc. Sound imitation or onomatopoeia is the naming of an action or thing by more or less reproduction of sounds. It is a way of word building when a word is formed by imitating different sounds. Semantically, according to the source sound, many onomatopoeic words fall into a few definite groups. The first group are the sounds produced by human beings, such as to whisper, to sneeze, to whistle. The second group are the sounds produced by animals, birds, insects, for example, dogs bark, cows moo, and so on. And the third group of sounds produced by nature and objects such as to splash, to bubble, to ding dong, and etc. Blendings are words formed from a word group or two synonyms. In blends, two ways of word building are combined, abbreviation and composition. To form a blend, we clip the end of the first component, epicope, and the beginning of the second component, apheresis. As a result, we have a compound shortened word. One of the first blends in English was the word smog, from two synonyms, smog and fog, which means smoke mixed with fog. From the first component, the beginning is taken, from the second one, the end. O is common for both of them. Another example of combining two words, brunch, is a meal you eat in the late morning that combines breakfast and lunch. Back formation is the way of word building when a word is formed by dropping the final morpheme to form a new word. It is opposite to suffixation, that is why it is called back formation. At first it appeared in the language as a result of misunderstanding the structure of a borrowed word. Professor Yartseva explains this mistake by the influence of the whole system of the language on separate words. For example, it is typical of English to form nouns denoting the agent of the action by adding the suffix er to a verb stem. For example, speak, speaker. Other examples of back formation are to accreditate from accreditation, or compute from computer, to emote from emotion, etc.